I remember when I first got married, I had just turned 20 years old. I remember our first apartment, unpacking all the dishes and the pots and all the goodies for the kitchen, bath towels for the bathroom. I remember playing house. It was an exciting time. It was fun. I was out on my own. And then fast forward 9 months later, I started to feel a little wimpy. I didn't exactly know what was the matter with me. I taught ballet class in the evenings, and I found that I would start to cry at the drop of a hat. That's not my usual thing. And I thought, man, something is the matter with me. Well, it was. I was pregnant. And so I called my husband and told him, and he was really excited. I wasn't really sure how excited I was. I was a ballet teacher and now I was going to have a baby. What does that mean? Oh my gosh, I hadn't even thought about having kids yet. Yeah, it happens, doesn't it? Well, during that time, I had to learn to cook because I didn't know how to cook. And I had to figure it out as I went. Do you find yourself doing that? I had to learn how to wash clothes because I'd never done it because my mom did it for me. I had to figure out how to clean house. That was kind of fun since I was just starting, but I don't find it so interesting now. I remember one time we were having lunch with some friends and we were at Mickey D's. If you don't know what that is, it's McDonald's. And we had had a really fun time. We were meeting up with some of my husband's college friends. Great talk. But we had our little baby with us at that time because we took him everywhere. And, about halfway into the conversations, we started to smell something kind of funny. And I kind of had a feeling that, yeah, he had dirtied his diaper, but I didn't know for sure. And, I was very modest back then, or I got embarrassed very easily, and I didn't wanna say anything about it, but they probably smelled it also. Well, we went out to the car, and the only place that we could change him was in the trunk, and so we opened up the trunk, and we got the baby bag in there, and we started opening up that diaper, and this is, before, Pampers and all those things, and they had elastic in the legs. Oh, yeah. It was, like, everywhere. Actually, I start not to feel so good when I even think about it. Nobody likes changing those diapers, do they? And don't you know, those friends, oh, they came over to see what we were doing when we put that baby in the trunk to change his diaper. Yeah, it was pretty embarrassing. I think having kids is the beginning of embarrassment. I remember being at Disneyland, that place you go for everybody to have a good time. And yeah, we're like in the afternoon and it was super hot outside, and actually it was nap time, and we're in the president's hall waiting to go in, and we have 3 little kids sitting at our feet, wailing and whimpering, and I remember a couple other ladies who smiled nicely. They're probably the age I am now. They smiled and they said, "Oh, we remember when." Yeah, we all go through it. Did you know that we're really all such the same? I remember when my youngest son, as a grown up, said to me, Mom, back when you used to say, I'm leaving, you used to make me afraid. Yeah, he said that he was afraid that his mama was going to leave. I remember thinking, I have so had it with the people in this house. I'm going to put a sign in the yard that says, Mom on strike. Have you ever been there? Well, today I'm going to help you stop sweating the small stuff because, that's what we all do when we're learning. We're talking about kids, marriage, and we're going to finish with how to give yourself a pep talk. Why do you have to give yourself a pep talk? Yeah, because probably no one else is going to do it, right? So I'm going to start out with 5 things that moms don't need to sweat. Stay with me. Welcome to the Extraordinary Marriage Podcast. I'm your host, Connie Duran. If you've ever felt like your marriage is more of a roller coaster ride than a romantic getaway, you're not alone. We all have our ups and downs, sometimes unintentionally hurting each other's feelings or missing the mark on what our spouse truly needs from us. Life gets busy, and it's easy to focus on irritations and failures instead of celebrating the love that brought you together in the first place. But fear not, I'm here to help you explore practical tools and heartfelt encouragement and rediscover what you love most about your spouse. Get ready to lean into each other's strengths and build something beautiful together. Not just survive, but thrive. I'll see you inside. All right, so here we go with 5 things that moms don't need to sweat. Today, I'm going to give you 4 areas of motherhood, and I'm going to give you 5 things in each area that I hope will help you enjoy the journey more. First of all, is a messy house. Yeah, kids are messy, so let it go. Some women are perfectionists and they just try to keep it all done, but let me tell you, when a baby comes along, things change. There's toys, there's stuff. There's so many things around. I remember going to one of my friend's house, who's still a friend now. I went to her house and she was babysitting and she had a couple small kids. And I usually always would call, but I had to drop something by. So I knocked on the door. And whenever she answered, she said, "Oh, come on in." I thought, "Oh, she's asking me to come in and she doesn't even know I'm coming." If somebody knocked on my door and I didn't know they were coming when I had little kids, I would like hide. I wouldn't want them to even know that I was home, because if they knew I was home, I was going to have to answer the door. And oh my gosh, everything was always a mess when my kids were small. So don't sweat the small stuff. Kids are going to make a messy house. And you like kill yourself if you're trying to keep it all clean. Clean. So that's your first thing. Number 2, dinner. No one cares if you make dinner from scratch. Did I say that I was learning how to cook? I didn't know how to cook at all. A week before we got married, there is chicken on sale for such and such price, and back in that day, we used to buy the whole chicken and we used to cut it up. And I said, wow, I would get like 3 or 4 for our freezer if I knew how to cut it up. And he said, "Oh, I know how to cut it up." I'm like, "Oh, you know how to cut up chicken?" He's like, "Yeah." So we purchased, I don't remember, actually 5, 6, 7 chickens. And we went into my mom's kitchen, of which she kept her kitchen perfect. And if it was just me, she would have never let me cut up chicken in that kitchen. But since he was my husband, Jeff, she liked him. She let us cut up chicken in that kitchen. Well, guess what? He did not know how to cut up chicken. If I don't know how to do something, I'll just tell you. But he, fake it till you make it. He said he knew how to cut chicken. He didn't. We had chicken from one side of that kitchen to the other side of that kitchen. And let me tell you, it was a big, big mess. But we were learning little by little, right? The third thing is, it's a really big problem for parents these days. We didn't have this whenever my kids were small. Screen time, or back then, screen time was TV. Oh, don't let your kids watch too much TV. Well, today there's so many different things on screens. There's educational things and there's a ton of things they don't need to be doing. So, you know, kids can learn a lot from screens, but my suggestion is take the phones out or the iPads out, and let them use them a couple of hours a day and then just put them away. It's like they're so attracted to those screens. They will lie, cheat, scream, lay on the floor to get their device. And honestly, that's a sign they don't need them all the time, right? So decide on the screen time and don't sweat that, but let them use them a little, put them away some. The fourth thing is homework. Kids need to learn how to do their homework on their own. Well, I have heard so many people talk about sitting down and doing homework. You know, Teachers did not have communication with us 30 years ago when we were raising kids. They didn't have communication except for, like a teacher work day where they called you in and talked to you about your kid. I mean, that was once or twice a year. Now they have email and they're telling you everything your kid's supposed to be doing or hasn't done. And you're having to deal with that. I mean, one more challenge. I call it too much information. And, kids gotta learn how to fail sometimes. And if you don't do your homework, you're gonna fail. It's better if they learn to supervise themselves when they're 1st grade and 2nd grade. Kindergartners, yeah, we can help them a little bit. But letting your kids do their own homework and take the heat if they don't do their homework. It's not your fault. It's up to them. They gotta learn. It's better to learn when you're younger on small, tiny stuff, yes, rather than wait until there's big stuff. Also, don't sweat, getting those clothes washed. They'll find something to wear. I remember whenever my daughter was 2 years old, you may have a strong-willed kid. She decided she did not want to wear what I gave her to wear. And, that's not a big deal, just so her clothes match and she's wearing the correct clothes in the right season, right? But she did not want to listen to me on that day. I thought, I think it was her first time exercising her independence as a 2-year-old. So I gave her 2 outfits and I said, "All right, you can wear." I said, "Here are 2 outfits and you can choose which one you would like to wear." So we gave her a choice. She was one of those kids who wanted to make up her mind herself. And also on that, I will say that her brother was about 5 and I was still dressing him. Yeah, I didn't know any better. So I was still putting his clothes on him every time we went anywhere or he got up in the morning and he was 5 years old. So I looked at my 2-year-old daughter who's demanding to dress herself and to pick out her own clothes. And I thought, what's the matter with that picture? So if I only had one kid, I would have probably helped him keep dressing until he was 8 or 9 because I didn't know any better, right? Don't sweat the small stuff. Now, 5 things that make raising kids easier. And hey, I know these. I already raised 3 kids and I helped raise a few grandkids along the way. So 5 things that make raising kids easier. Number 1 is routine. Now, I'm one of those people, I have a little trouble with routine, and I've really thought lately with all my kids grown that routine's a little harder because I don't have that automatic thing where the bus is coming in the morning and I have to get up and get them ready. I don't have that automatic thing where I've got to feed 3 hungry kids because they're saying I'm hungry. And so I had to find my own routines, and I find that habits make life easier. But kids thrive on routine. So, what is your routine? If you get just a few things, a few habits, it makes life a little easier. Like when to eat breakfast, do they get dressed when they get up first thing? What time is lunch? Especially in the summertime when kids are out of school, when is dinner? Kids act better on routine. I know when my daughter got married, she had 2 stepchildren, and um, the extended family did not have routine on eating dinner. Well, if you don't eat dinner till 8 or 9 o'clock, little kids fall out. They fall out and they're crying and they're upset. These things make life hard and unenjoyable. So, you see what I mean by a little routine helps. Number 2, chores. Now, I have to say, I did not do this with my own kids because I just didn't know any better. I didn't think about it. No one told me. My mom didn't tell me I had to help. Well, chores, kids can start helping at a very young age. They can pick up their toys when they're told. That's something that helps. They can take their plate, to the kitchen sink and set it on the counter as soon as you think that that's safe for them to do that. Um, they can, pick up their room. They can bring you the broom if they can't, sweep, but they can maybe vacuum, when they get a little bigger, they like to vacuum. Um, I remember my mom, the one thing she did say was, "Hey, Connie, make sure you vacuum of the house while I am at work." And it did not occur to me until late as an adult, maybe like 5 years ago, that mother would say, "Connie, make sure you vacuum the house." Well, to me, the house was the den. Yeah, that was it, just the den. I can't really remember if I vacuumed my room. I can't remember. But when she said vacuum the house, I vacuumed the den. So you can see there, we have to communicate exactly what we want the kids to do. But when they start helping out with household and chores, you may think it's not making it easier on you, but in the long run, it will. And it teaches them the skills. And it's, hey, the family is a team. We work together. My daughter-in-law has 10 kids. Yeah. Y'all ever seen that musical, The Sound of Music? The man has, I don't remember, 7 or 8 kids. He loses his wife and he's a military man. And so he starts treating his kids like he does the folks in the military, and he has a whistle that he blows and they all come and they line up. Yeah, life's not exactly like that. But yeah, having the kids help with chores does help. Number 3, meal prep. Honestly, this is something I have had trouble with all my life because I don't do this. I don't plan my meals ahead of time. And what happens is when I get hungry, I'm tired. I don't feel like figuring out what's for dinner. Do you relate to that? I just want to eat. So here's the thing, taking a piece of paper every week or writing it on your calendar what you're going to have for dinner each and every night. Are you going to use the crock pot? Are you going to use the pressure cooker? Are you going to cook it in the oven? And simply sitting down every Sunday night and figuring out that makes it easier on you every single day. Think about it. If you're going to take one tip today that I'm telling you, that one thing would make such a difference and it would take the heat off of you every single day. Another thing for making raising kids easier is family meetings. Now, my daughter and son in law have 10 children. Yes. And I believe collaboration and talking with your kids, communicating and allowing them to communicate with you, it builds unity. It builds a family. And no matter whether you have 1 kid or 10 kids, family meetings are a great thing. I like to do them at dinner time. Everybody sitting down together around the table and chit chatting each and every day, right? But maybe once a month or once every couple of weeks, sitting down so that every kid in your household feels heard. It's important to feel like people are listening. And if you have a lot of kids, it's just not easy. Number 5, time outs. Kids need time outs to calm down. All right. So I found that counting to 3 helped me manage my kids better and easier. I don't even know where I learned that because I don't remember my mom telling me that. It's like she just said no, and that was it. She gave me the look, and that was it. But, after having a little trouble with my kids listening and having 3 kids, 5 and under, I had to figure out something that made it easier. I didn't really like to spank. I didn't really like to do timeout because I would forget about them and leave them there forever. Um, but if I counted to 3 and they had not listened, they got a spanking or a pop on the leg, according to their size, right? So counting to 3. So number 1, when they heard the number 1, it brought their attention to, oh, she means it. Number 2 meant yes. Number 3 meant too late. And I can say, even just maybe a year ago or something, one of my little granddaughters, she's so headstrong and so awesomely sweet, but she's very determined and she did not want to listen to me. And so one day she refused to listen to me. Yeah, she's little. And I thought, this is not good. So I said 1, and she looked at me, and I said 2. And you could tell by my voice that I meant what I was saying. And I said 3, and she got her leg popped. Well, she was absolutely shocked because Nana had popped her leg. But the next week, when she tried the same thing and refused to listen, I said 1, and she looked at me, and her whole face said, oh, does she mean this? I said 2, and guess what? She got up and she moved. So about 3 times using the counting approach will make your lives easier, mamas. I'm telling you. So just looking at those 5 things right there on raising kids, having a routine, letting them help with chores, meal prep makes your life easier, family meetings lets the kids be heard, and time outs or counting makes a difference and makes your whole life better. Let me tell you, ladies. All right, the next thing is 5 things that keep a healthy marriage because ultimately I have found people that have trouble in life had a troubled childhood. That means maybe their parents had trouble in their marriage. Maybe somebody didn't have any patience. I mean, there's a whole load of things that can go wrong. But if you will work on having a healthy marriage, you can also raise healthy minded kids. So, 5 things that keep a healthy marriage: date night. Couples need time alone. This is really an important thing. You need time alone. When I look back, I know that we did not have a lot of time alone. I didn't hardly ever leave my kids. I took them with me everywhere. Yeah, I was kind of attached to them. So, time alone. But I would tell you now, as I look back, a date night at least once a month, just you and him, and having a good time together is so very important. Number 2, communication. Couples need to talk about everything. Yes, some people do not talk very much, and some people talk a lot, of which I would be one of those. So, if you're married to a person who's quiet and they don't say very much, sometimes when you talk with them, you have to stop talking and be quiet a minute. Yeah, the silence is really hard, but you have to be quiet a minute. Maybe they're thinking about what they're going to say, but they can never say anything because those of us who are fast talkers, we just keep it rolling, right? So, communication. Couples need to talk about everything. Number 3, forgiveness. Couples need to forgive each other. Sometimes we get so mad at our spouse. Never go to sleep when you are angry. Make sure that you talk it out. Talk it out. Go back to number 2, communication. Talk about everything. But forgiveness is so important. It's like bitterness. It's like a rotten apple, a rotten potato, a rotten onion. Bitterness and frustration and unforgiveness, yeah, it can kill your love life. It can kill your love of your marriage and your spouse. Forgiveness, that's so important. I have another podcast on that. Um, Number 4, teamwork. Couples need to work together. He's good at something, you're good at something. Figure out what each of you are good at and lean on each other for those things. If you're both good at the same things, you'll have to learn how to take turns. There again, talk about everything. And 5 is fun. All couples need to have some fun. Remember when you're dating? Remember when you first met your spouse? What did you love about them? Remember to have some fun. And we're in a grumpy mood and we're tired and we're dirty and we're sweaty. And yeah, we can't even think about fun, can we? So you got to plan it. You got to plan it. The last 5 things is um, a, these are some ways to give yourself a pep talk because this is what I found. No one else is going to take care of my thought life, my mind, how I think. No one else is going to know they need to take care of that. So we can't lean into our husbands for that. And for heaven's Betsy, we can't lean on our children for those things, right? So 5 things a mom can give herself in order to give herself a pep talk. Affirmations. Sit down and think about how you really think about yourself, what you say about yourself. I want you to reverse those words. What do you want to be? You know, I want to be a mom who gets up happy every morning. I want to get things done around my house. I want to finish my day, feeling accomplished. Whatever it is, that's me at this point because I don't have children here. Maybe yours is, I want to get the clothes washed every day. I want to, what is it? Fill it in. Give yourself 3 to 7 things that you want to be and then speak them as if they already are. I am lovable. I am the greatest mom. I am a great cook. I don't know. All right, affirmations. They're really important. Sit down and think about it. Number 2, a gratitude list. Reflect on what you're grateful for. We get so tied up in all the frustrations of motherhood that we forget to think about what we're grateful for. Good health, loving kids, beautiful family. Probably you have a home you're living in. Remember what you need to be thankful for. It's a pep talk. Gratitude, it makes you feel better. Visualize is number 3. Imagine the best version of yourself as a mom. Yeah, we talk bad to ourselves, and all we do is think about what we don't do right. I've been there many, many times, maybe just yesterday. So visualize and imagine the best version of yourself. What do you really want to be? 3, celebrate the wins. Your child got potty trained. I think everybody does that. You clap, you make a big deal, you celebrate the wins. Um, Acknowledge the small things. Somebody cleans up, they eat all their food on their plate. Maybe they take their plate to the kitchen counter. Somebody picked up their toys. You made it through the day, whatever. Celebrate the wins. And then number 5, set intentions. Set positive intentions for the day ahead. So often we just take what we get. I have a gift for you, and it's called The Chemistry of Lasting Love. It is my guide for you in having a happier, healthier marriage. I hope you have a happy Mother's Day each and every day. God bless. Thanks for tuning in to the Extraordinary Marriage Podcast with me, Connie Durham. Remember, every marriage has its bumps in the road, but with the right tools and encouragement, you can turn those bumps into stepping stones. Focus less on frustrations and more on what you love about each other. Grow together, laugh together, and love forever. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe, share, and leave a review. Join me next time as we keep exploring how you can build the kind of marriage that feels extraordinary. Until then, keep showing up, keep listening, and keep loving. You've got this.